right, I'd like to welcome everyone on this beautiful Friday morning where we're going to have a presentation on teen gambling, what is the harm, and our prevention and treatment administrator, Luis Del Orbe, will be giving that talk. And so we'd like to welcome Luis and hope everyone gets something out of this presentation for sure. And without further ado, Luis, go to it.
Thank you, Phil. Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to see you here. I said hello to a few people earlier today.
What makes you think that it's more than one?
I see Dr. Elizabeth Hall. Dr. Hall, such a long time without seeing you.
Oh,
I'm so happy that you're able to join us this morning.
and I am delighted to be able to join. You're one of my heroes.
Well, I don't know about that. Dr. Hall is a little biased, but good morning, everyone. My name is Luis Del Orbe. Let's start on time just so we can hopefully end on time. Like Phil said, please, if you are on the chat, listen, this is, every time I do a seminar, I would like to consider this a discussion. This is not where I just give you information, take them in. This is a discussion. Many of you here professionals, we do have some individuals with some young people on the online right now because they want this information and we want to make sure that they get it. However, if you're,
right.
if you do have your mic open,
All right, thanks, Michael.
I would like to ask those of you who have your mic open, please mute yourself.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
What I is my mic open?
Yes, it is, ma'am. All right, now, like I said, this is a discussion. Phil, at any time, please, if someone asks, makes a comment, asks a question, I have no problem stopping so we can certain things as we go along. Discussion. I am here to learn as much from you as hopefully this information that I will be giving you can be helpful to you. You know, we're here going to be talking about.
Now that's not working.
What is the
What is
harm?
wrong?
Okay, please mute. If there is noise in your background, please mute your mic. Someone is now muted. We can hear you. Appreciate it. So like I said before, my name is Luis Del Orbe. I am the Prevention and Treatment Administrator for the Council of Compulsive Gambling. Who are we? The Council of Compulsive Gambling, we are a nonprofit organization. And what we do is we provide information, education, and referral services for those individuals who may fall into the problem gambling area. You know, regardless of everything that we do and the manner that we do it, our primary purpose is to represent and be an advocate for the problem gambler and the family. Okay, problem gambling is not an individual disease. It is a family disease. And this is why we always include the family in all advocacy, in everything that we do, in representing the best interests of the gambler. We have to include the family. You know, we say that a gambler affects 11 people in their lives, okay, including the community. So gambling addiction is not an individual. Please, I will have to ask you again one more time, please mute yourself, okay? We can hear the background noise where you are, so I must ask you.
What is going on?
To mute yourself, please.
Whoever the moderator is can mute everybody. So I don't know who the host of this is, but you can just mute everybody.
Good idea.
So let's do that. Did that work?
No.
I did not.
Can you tell, so can you tell the moderator how do we mute everyone?
It should be an option I'm not the host and I forget what it looks like, but if the host clicks on someone, like if they go over the picture of someone, there's three
Yeah,
dots in the corner.
Phil, I'm sorry, Phil, Charles here. You might try clicking on the participants and then you either have the mute all option there, or there might be a three buttons or three dots to give you more.
All right, I think that's it. I think I found it. All right, so it seems that we're good to go. Can anyone, Phil, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you.
Very good. Okay, here we go. So as I said, we're a nonprofit organization, and our main purpose, our job, what we're here for, what we're here to do is to represent the problem gambler and their families. And we do this through the helpline. We monitor a helpline. We have a helpline that is monitored 24 hours, 7 days a week. If someone calls for help, someone will pick up the phone, even after hours. So it does not matter where you are or what you're doing and things like that. If you need help, call us. We'll be there. You can write us. You can even text you can even text us. We have a website. As you see it up there, 800gambler.org. Go on our website. There's tons of information there. But you will always try to, always be able to get a hold of someone. You can email us. Here in the beginning, I set up, this is my email. You can always send me an email and I will get back to you. I answer every single email. Sometimes you may have to give me a good 24 hours to get to you, but I will. Okay. Now, you met some of our staff. We have Daniel and Phil helping us here. But this is the staff of the 800 Gambler. As you can see, we're small staff. Okay? And we have Mr. Joseph Kane, who is on with the webinar right now, who will be joining us Monday. We do have position open if you live in South Jersey and you're interested in a problem gambling prevention specialist spot, please give us a call, submit your resume, and we will consider you. We are a small organization. We're a small body of individuals, but we're very dedicated. We're very committed to the job that we're doing. This group of individuals that you see here have the task of spreading the word out throughout the entire state of New Jersey and beyond. But we do cover the entire state. We go where we must go to in order to give the message that for problem gambling, there is treatment, there is support, and there's definitely hope that we provide the problem gambler. Okay, so we do appreciate you being here. Give us a call. These are our names. You can text us, write us, call us, you name it, and you will respond. So our main objectives in bringing this information here and conducting this online webinar, this seminar, is to support our youth in becoming responsible adults. We want to increase our participants' knowledge, whether it's the youth, parents, just concerned citizen, everyone in the community. Okay, we want to be able to increase your knowledge on the nature and risk associated with gambling, but specifically underage gambling. Remember, I told you before on how gambling itself, just problem gambling, affects the entire community. Well, underage gambling, these are individuals who are not yet legally able to gamble. Okay, but that's not the damaging part. These are individuals who are very much active in their development. And as you may know, as you develop, okay, as you go along, the nutrition that you give yourself, whether it's physical, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that nutrition is going to aid you in your development. Okay, garbage in, garbage out. So we need to very much be aware of how we go about being able to help our kids, to help our youth develop properly. Okay? With this information, the review people are participant, we hope that we're able to modify gambling behaviors in young people. Okay, this is done in order to ensure that they, hopefully by having the information, they can delay, the urge or the want to be able to engage in gambling activity until they're mature enough to do so. We want to empower them, okay, to gamble responsibly if they so choose to, if they so choose to gamble when they become older. I'm talking about maturity, but we all know the maturity does not come with age, okay? We all know that we need to put effort into our own development in order to mature properly. Maturity does not come with age. And even those individuals who later on in life do sometimes fall into a problem gambling, for the most part, those individuals will most likely have been exposed to some sort of underage gambling, some sort of illegal gambling when they were younger. Okay. And we're going to talk about those factors and those elements that may be able to or produce that result. So, what is the ultimate goal of a parent regarding children? To me, you see this picture here? This picture was taken when my daughter was 8 months old. A friend of mine, we were in a diner and I believe we're having lunch. And my daughter grabbed my finger with her little hand and she will not let it go. As you can see, she has a very tight grip on that finger. Okay. My friend calls this picture trust. The primary goal for me as a parent is to raise a fully functional, well-rounded adult who is able to take care of herself and make a positive contribution to society. That, as parents, is what we want. We want our children to do well in life. And trust me, our children want to do well in life. That picture there is called trust. This child trusts me to make decisions that are in her best interest. I have to make decisions for her right now until she's old enough to be able to make competent and informed decisions. Until then, that task is mine. As her father, that task is mine. There are going to be some times that I'm not going to be too popular with her. There are going to be times when she's going to fight me, resist me. There's going to be times that she's not going to like the decisions that I make for her. But I know what my job is, and I know what I must do. And by knowing that, I really cannot let not being popular with her every so often stop me from making decisions that are in her best interest. Teen gambling. It is underage gambling, and in New Jersey, as in most states, it is illegal. But here's the problem. Okay? Gambling is festering in just about every single high school in New Jersey. I mean, out of us present here, you can use the chat, Phil and Daniel are monitoring them. Out of all of us here, is there anyone that cannot recall some sort of gambling going on either in elementary school or high school? Okay. I can only speak for myself. And one thing I can tell you is I used to gamble in high school. Okay. I saw a lot of gambling going on in high school. Fights broke out over gambling in the high school. Gambling goes on in school. One of the things that I do, we travel around to the state and we try to talk to individuals about gambling. Believe it or not, here it is at the age that at the state that we're in, 2022. But you still have some people who have a hard time considering gambling an addiction. Okay, and our society, we accept it. Is it socially acceptable? Listen, it is a legal activity for those who can engage in it. But for the most part, our children, they start gambling between the age of 9 and 10 years old. Okay, they're being exposed to a risky behavior who can have terrible effect on their development going down the line. They're exposed to very early to what's going on. The Council on Compulsive Gambling, what we do is we do a lot of outreach and a lot of prevention education in some high schools. However, we have over 866 high schools in this state. This includes about 254 private schools. Okay, we know that underage gambling goes on, and therefore issues come up. These young people who are engaged in this activity do develop a problem gambling. And these young people having the problem gambling is actually higher than adults. The percentage of young people with problem gambling is higher than adults. We encourage families to get together. I'm a social worker. I'm a certified social worker in the state of New Jersey. And one of the things that we encourage is for family to spend time together. It's important. But how we spend that time together is also very important. The activities that we involve, the things that we do when we come together is very important. As I said before, we accept gambling. It's socially accepted. It's legal. During Christmas time, we usually join the lottery in a campaign to try to get parents not to give scratch off and lottery tickets to underage children. First of all, they're underage. If they win, they cannot claim the money. Okay, but sometimes it's cute. We just do it as stocking stuffers. We just give them lottery tickets, and we don't see as much, and we don't think about it as much. But think about this. And this information that I'm giving you is not to scare you. This is not to tell you that if your child who's underage is engaged in gambling, that child will develop an addiction. No. Listen, there are those who drink, right? Not all develop a problem drinking. However, some do. There are those who do experiment with substance use, drugs, marijuana, and now it's legal. The message now is going to be different. There might be a high percentage of young adults who will try and who will experiment with drugs. It does not mean that all of them will develop an addiction, but some will. We just don't know. And this is why it is up to us to be able to safeguard our children. It is up to us, the adults, and I'm not talking about just parents, because as I said, gambling addiction affects everyone across the board. So every one of us have a stake into this, and we must act upon it. Okay? Gambling is a risky behavior. Exposing children to risky behavior too soon can be detrimental to their development. Okay, hidden traps are associated with gambling activities. We all know this. Sometimes our children are not going to be able to navigate through these traps. There's a lot of psychology in gambling. We're not. The Council on Compulsive Gambling is not against the gambling industry. We are neither for nor against gambling. Okay. Like most people, we see gambling as a form of entertainment. But there's a lot of psychology into it. It is a business. And people who are involved in these business are competing for not only your attention and your money, they're competing for your time. And they will do whatever it takes to be able to lure you into their business, which they have a right to do. And the reason why we give this information is to empower people, to give people the information so they can make an educated decision, to empower people that know that, listen, yes, I can do this, but if something happens, I know how to get out of it. And if I'm not able to get out of it, then I know where to search for help. I know where to go for help. Maturity for this type of action, for this type of involvement, must be acquired. That goes for adults as well. I mean, believe me, I have met some 50-year-olds who have yet to acquire maturity. All right? But we have to keep trying. Even 50-year-olds we cannot let go of. They're part of our society, they're part of us, they're part of our families, and we have to help them as well. Okay. And hopefully, we just got to be hopeful that in time, that maturity will sink in and good decisions will be made. Okay. As far as from what we do, more needs to be done. Sometimes I go into high schools, right? And I speak to the principals or the people in the administration. I work up in North Jersey. Right now, I am coming to you from Sussex County. It's actually snowing here right now. I don't know if it started snowing in other parts of the state, but up here, the snow already started. Okay, so I know how much is going to be accumulated soon. But listen, we go out there and we talk to schools because we want to get in there and we want to talk to their young people. And a lot of times I am met with a lot of resistance. And a lot of the administrators will tell me, listen, we're in the inner city. We don't have a problem with gambling. We have a problem with drug abuse. We have a problem with violence. We have a problem with our students carrying weapons. And I said, well, why don't we just sit? Let's just have a conversation. Sometimes just having a conversation will give us a better picture of what's going on. Let's just sit with it. Let's grab some of your students and let's just sit and have a conversation. And in that conversation, they'll discover that most of the kids in that room had gambled, not only in that year, but they had gambled within that month, within that week, within 24 hours. And that's when sometimes eyes are open. So listen, open the door, be open-minded. Let's see what's going on. Listen, in the United States, it has been estimated that 0.9% of adults meet the criteria of having a serious problem, of being serious problem gamblers. 0.9%. Now, take under account that we have a population, as of December 2021, that we have a population of 331 million, over 331 million. We talk about millions of people. But here adults are under 1%. But for youth, approximately 4 to 5% of youth between the age of 12 to 17 meet the same criteria. That is alarming. And we're not addressing it efficiently. We need to address it more efficiently. And then you have another 10 to 14% who are at risk of developing an addiction, which means that they're already showing signs of losing some sort of control over their gambling behavior. Okay, something has to be done. These are the different forms of gambling that teenagers do. Now we are a few minutes already into our webinar. Phil, is there anything? Is any questions? Any comments that anybody that you believe that we should address?
No questions. There were some comments about that gaming isn't harmless for the kids, the video games. So you addressed that some, and that was appreciated by a few people. But no specific questions at this point.
All right, good. Listen, we're going to have time. I'm going to make sure that we have time at the end so we can have a discussion, because I would like for you all, this is a discussion, to unmute yourself and just give us, but just keep in mind that we would like to finish on time. It is Friday, and a lot of people, are ready to finish off the week properly. Okay, but see, these are some of the most popular ventures that teenagers are doing when it comes to gambling. I myself, I'm gonna tell you that I used a lot of these when I was a kid. One of the things I used a lot, which got me in a lot of trouble, was playing chicken. We used to play chicken with darts, where we would try to, come across either your foot or your hand. And believe me, I ended up getting a lot of darts in my hand. You got to remember, development, youth development. Okay, young people are missing the frontal lobe that we have. Okay, it's not till the age of 25 for males anyway. I know for females a little younger, but for males, 25 years old is when the brain becomes fully developed. So although we know we say, they're adults at the age of 18, their brains are still developing. They still have not mastered that break. They still have not gotten that break. We are our children's break. Okay, so these are the type of games the kids, a lot of kids are involved in. I used to work with this young man, 11 years old. So I was asked to work with him because this kid was just out of control. According to the school, he was just out of control. So every time I'm talking to this kid, everything with him is, I bet you, I bet you, I bet you. We walking down the street and he says, you know what? That guy, look at him running. I bet I can run faster than him. Okay. Everything with this kid, everything was always, I bet. When I work with a child, what I want to do is bring in the parent into what we're doing. So parent involvement is very important for me. So we went to the house. As we get to the house, the kid lived on the 3rd floor. He says, I bet you I can make it up the stairs before you. And I says, you know what? You probably can. But right now we're going to walk up and we're going to talk to your parents. Then I went in and I met the parents. Now I'm able to understand the child. The parents encourage competition. One of the things the father does on a daily basis when he comes home is that he puts up $5 for whoever can bring him his slippers first. Before he comes up, mom hides his favorite slippers, and then the kids will have to run. There was 3 children in the house. The children will have to run and try to find the slippers to be able to get the father's $5, the $5 that he was giving him. He didn't understand that what this action was doing to these young people. So we just got to be careful the kind of nutrition that we are giving our young people. So what type of youth is prone to addiction? Can anyone put into the chat? Is there a certain type of youth that can be more prone to addiction than other? What do you think? What is that type? Now, we know for those of us who are in this field and for those of you who are providing clinical treatment for gambling, we know certain characteristics, right? And we know certain risk factors. But the fact is, gambling, any sort of addiction, not just gambling, but any form of addiction does not discriminate. There isn't a certain type, there isn't a mold. Oh, you know what? I can see that this guy's heading to addiction because of this, this, and this. But I can see that this guy's not because he got it together. Or this lady, look how she's dressed. Look what she does for a job. She could never fall into addiction. It does not discriminate. There are no particular types. Now, there are some contributing factors. Okay, the environment. The environment is a big one, especially nowadays. Environment is a big one. Genetics, family background, personal traits. Sometimes a person's character, their personality, sometimes it's their biggest flaws. And sometimes that, that personality is what gets you into trouble. And I'm not talking about just addiction. Sometimes your personality can be your own worst enemy. Stress. Stress not only kills. Stress sometimes encourages people to do things that they do not want to do things that they normally are not prone to do. Okay, so we got to be careful. And we, of course, we all know that existing mental illness does contribute to addiction. Okay. So sometimes we just have to be out there and we just have to see, we have to explore, we have to do things. We have to watch people, especially our youth. Then we have other factors to consider, right? You know, who are besides you at home, okay? You being the top as far as protector of morals, okay? You got moral protectors of society, government, and church. A lot of religious institutions condemn gambling. They do not allow their individuals to gamble, but I do know individuals who are in certain religion that they're not allowed to gamble who still indulge in gambling, okay? But the church encourages gambling, you know? I have been to churches, you know, when I was a kid, I used to go to churches with people who used to do the bingo. And I used to help put the number, put the little color circle on the numbers. You know, grandparents, they bring their grandchildren along. It's only bingo, right? Some people do not consider bingo gambling. Some people do not consider doing scratch-off gambling. It's just something they do on their off time. The churches, some, for the most part, do allow gambling. Okay? They're not against it, and they don't speak up against it. So how can it be wrong? The government as well. The government not only manages and promote gambling, but I mean, how many billboards are out there for the lottery? How many billboards are out there for scratch-offs? Like I said, we're not against gambling, we're not. But I am putting you aware that it's out there and is very, very, very heavily advertised. Okay? It's advertised by all these sports books that are coming out. It's easily accessible to these children, to young people. When I was a kid, we used to hold poker games in our friends' basements or in the garage or in the backyard. Okay, I remember I was about 13 or 14, and we were having these poker competitions. We would save up money, or sometimes we stole from our parents, and we were using pennies and nickels, dimes, but we were gambling. In today's environment, between all the advertisements that are out there, the billboards, the commercials, everything that's going on out there, everything is about gambling. And listen, I was in a convention up in Secaucus, the sports betting convention. What's coming down the line is going to make what's going on now look like nothing. So many companies are coming over because there's so much money to be made. Okay, it is a big source of revenue, not just for the companies, but for governments across the board. This is what we're up against. And we need each other. We need to be able to keep each other informed in order to protect our youth, in order to guide them into the proper development. Here are some of the states. I just put a few, you know, that are within driving distance from us, or the, you know, the tri-state area. And this is the age where they allow gambling. If gambling is monitored, if gambling is controlled, and only these individuals, once they reach this age, are able to gamble, we will not be here today. Okay? Underage gambling, illegal gambling goes on. So casinos, most casinos, you have to be 21, but some do allow 18-year-olds to go in. Okay. Then you have, you know, poker, bingo, lottery, horse racing. Listen, I used to go to the Meadowlands when I was about 16. No one ever stopped me. Listen, I used to go to the window and place bets. No one ever questioned how old I was. Maybe I looked older than what I was. Okay. And maybe if I would have won, then maybe they would ID me and then not pay me. But I was able to engage in it. I was able to go. I took a bus to the Meadowland and, we went to see the horse races. Okay. So there are pitfalls, there are loopholes, there are avenues for our children to become into gambling. What are the possible consequences of this gambling? What are our children learning? How are they developing? A gambler, as we all know, they will steal. They tend to steal. They'll lie, they'll manipulate. It's not just what goes through, it's the physical. You can literally become sick from always being in debt. You can become very depressed from always living or not having enough to pay for just basic needs. Children, they go through this as well. Young adults, they go through this as well. Sometimes we'll see them and a child, the young man will come in or a young lady will come in from school. And for us, as a parent, we're like, hey, how was your day today? Oh, it was good. Thank you. It was fine. Boom. End the conversation. The child says, I'm fine. And they're gone. Remember I told you about, I work with parents. And we're going to talk about this a little further down the line. Parents' involvement is very important. Children, the grades will become, they'll decline. And they're always preoccupied with the next bet or the next game. Video games. Video games are free. But there's a lot of gambling in today's video games. There's a lot of gambling that goes on in today's video games. If you ever wonder why your child is always asking for gift cards, sometimes they use that for games. To get from one level to another, they have to purchase certain things. So there's a lot of gambling in video games, and this is why we must be aware of everything that goes on in our kids' lives. Many schools have prevention programs who are typically available for issues such as, substance abuse and use, drinking and driving, sex education, bullying. Bullying is a big thing. I have a friend of mine who's a counselor in schools, and she's an expert on giving workshops when it comes to bullying. Okay. Can anyone tell me, in the area that they're from, do they know if their high school offers any education when it comes to gambling, or any preventive education when it comes to gambling? Any intervention when it comes to gambling? Phil, let me know if anyone responds in positive, because to tell you the truth, I have not seen it. And I would love to work with that school.
The first four answers are no.
Yeah. None. Everywhere I go, I'm usually the only one that's going there to talk about problem gambling prevention. Listen, we have treatment. Here at the council, we provide no-cost treatment to individuals with problem gambling. We train individuals. Mr. Leonard Brazier is one of our providers, and he's on today. Okay, he is a trained gambling clinician, specifically for gambling. We provide those treatments. But you know what? We don't want to spend everything on the back end. We don't want to wait until the problem develops. Okay, let's try to avoid the crisis by providing information, by empowering people to make informed decisions. And this is what we need to do. So more people, more needs to be done. We have to get out there. In March is Problem Gambling Awareness Month. And usually in March, we go out there, we hit the pavement, we try to get facilities to increase the screening when it comes to gambling. Many facilities that are geared to substance abuse and other behavioral issues do not screen for gambling. So that sometimes people in recovery, that part of whatever issues they're dealing with may go untreated. And that may be the part that's fueling something else. A lot of gamblers, a lot of people with problem with substance abuse, they are dealing with co-current situations. We need to screen for that. Okay. Therefore, we need to speak up and try to provide preventive measures when it comes to gambling. One of the things that we're going to ask all our providers, including Mr. Leonard, I know he was involved last year, but one of the things we ask is for Problem Gambling Awareness Month, for people to be there and do something when it comes to gambling, so some sort of prevention work, some sort of awareness. Just let people know that there's help out there. Okay, let people know there's help out there. So listen, we're going to be doing this throughout March because March we really do step it up. So what is the best tools for this? Well, prevention, right? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. But you know what the top preventive tool is? The parent, the concerned adult. Those adults in society. Behind the child that makes the most progress is an actively involved parent. If we let children try to figure things out on their own, guess what? They will. But we may not like the stuff that they figure out. Okay? That's their job. Children, they're going to test their limits. They're going to be engaged in risky behaviors. That's their job, basically. Yes, that's their job. They will do that. So don't get mad at them for trying it. But it's up to you to be there to guide them through the process. Okay?
I like to
guide them through the process.
It's true. It is a teenage.
Here's some solutions. Here's some suggestions. Maybe some of you agree with me on this. Maybe some of you don't. You know what? In a few minutes, we'll discuss it. I want people to disagree with me because that's how conversations come to play. But listen, don't be a friend to your child. Be a parent. This one thing I always say, parents, you can never be a friend to your child. In time, when your child gets it, when he or she understands, that child is going to become your friend. And you're going to have a lifelong friend. But when I hear parents tell me that their 7-year-old is their best friend, and I hear this, oh, this is my best friend. Well, what's going to happen when your best friend tests your limits, when your best friend tests your patience, when your best friend extends him or herself beyond those boundaries? Sometimes it's going to be hard to correct that best friend of yours. Be a parent at all times. Okay. When abstinence is not possible, then you know what? Let's fall back to harm reduction. If you suspect that your child is gambling, if you suspect that your child is developing some sort of addiction, guess what? You may be right. Because if you suspect it, that means there were signs that you're seeing. There are things that are obvious. Okay, so listen, I have no problem telling a child of mine, listen, you want to play poker? Bring the game to the house. Bring the game to my house where I can supervise it, where I can control it, but I'm going to make it fun. It's not going to be for money. It's going to be for fun. We're just going to play for fun. That's what we're going to do. Talk to your children. And listen, there's one thing a child craves for is structure. Give your child structure, but talk to them through help that child process everything that they probably can. Everything, something that happens, process it with them. Just have a conversation. Don't let your child come to that door where he or she just says, oh, I'm fine. No, stop them for a minute, okay? And if that child makes, and if that child does something wrong, then you know what? Consequence, it has to be concrete. Stick to it. Collaboration. I always ask parents to tell parents, form partnerships with your school. Let your school know that you are involved, that they can come to you. Don't wait until the end of the school year. Now your child is at risk of possibly failing and things like that. And now you want to yell at the teachers. You want to yell at the principal. You want to yell at the counselors. Why didn't nobody tell me? Be involved. Get in partnership with those schools and get to know your child's friends' parents. Get to know them. Be informed. Educate yourself about the risks and hazards. Associate. Okay? Associate yourself with people that may have the knowledge that's going to be able to, empower you into making informed and good decisions. Have a conversation. I say this, screen your child for problem gambling. Listen, I do not mean that you stand in front of your child with a list and you're just asking them questions and he or she is answering yes or no. No. Okay, there's something called motivational interviewing. It's just simple. Listen, engage your child in conversation. You're driving down the road and you're in your car and you see a billboard for one of the sports book. And talk to your child. Hey, listen, what do you think about this? Ask for his or her opinion. What do you think about this? Would you want to do something like that? Why do you think there's so much advertisement going on? You can find so much in just engaging your child in conversation and seek help. When in doubt, talk it out. That's what I say. When in doubt, talk it out. When you're having doubts, when you don't believe that you have the right information, call someone, reach out to someone. Listen, we are here to help. Okay, we are here. We have a whole lot of information at our disposal. If you want us to come, go talk to you, we will go talk with you. Okay. So call us. If anything, if you believe you have no one to talk to, give us a call. We're at your disposal. That's what we're here for. That's what we're going to get paid. And guess what? Whether you call us or not, I'm getting paid. So you might as well utilize me. Just use me. Okay? Call me. Call Phil. Call Daniel. Listen, call Miss Alice. She's in the office. Miss Alice is, I'm telling you, she's golden. She's great. Miss Alice will make time for anyone. You give her a call. No matter how busy she is, she will give you the information that you need. And if she doesn't have the information after 28 years of doing this, believe me, she will find you the information or she will guide you in the right direction. So give us a call. We're here. No cost to you. Okay. These are some of the other places that you can go to. Gambling Anonymous, is for the family. Gamblers Anonymous. We're not associated with Gamblers Anonymous. That's a separate organization. Do believe in their fellowship, right, Phil?
Oh, yes.
We do believe in Gamblers Anonymous fellowship. Therefore, this is why people call us. We'll give them the information to a meeting, time, place, wherever. We want them to go for help. We want them to help what they need in the family as well. Okay. Know that we're here. We're here for you. We're going to do this together. You are not alone. You're not alone. Okay?
10 minutes for questions.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate
Luis, you got
time.
a couple questions if you have a minute.
Of course we do. Yes, we do.
All right. Someone did ask, are there any efforts being made to restrict the amount of advertising?
Right now, I don't believe so. No. Okay. Like you said, these are legal ventures that these companies are doing. So when it comes to advertising, no. These companies, they have unlimited funds. This is a business that deals with trillions of dollars worldwide. Okay, so they have unlimited money when it comes and just shooting this information at people. This is what we're against, and this is why we need to come together and work together. So I hope I answered that question.
I think you did. Someone mentioned they thought the Burlington County, some of those schools were doing some gambling education, or it was at least mentioned. So I wanted to
They said we were
mention
there.
that to you.
They actually said we were there.
Good, good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Listen, is anyone, everybody's unmuted? Can anybody unmute themselves? Or you good? Did I don't know. But if anyone has any comments, any questions, we can discuss it here. Miss Patricia Haley, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How you doing? It was great. Great.
Very good.
It was great, Louis, as always.
Thank you.
And Alice is gold.
I also thought, my name is Elizabeth.
I agree.
Luis, you're an eloquent and effective and very passionate speaker. And I learned a great deal from listening to you today. It was a real
Thank you very much, Dr. Hall. It's great hearing your voice. It's great seeing that you're here with us.
Okay, wonderful. Bye-bye, everybody.
Ken, thank you very much. One of the things that remember, we talk about information empowerment, right? Here is my little guy here. Dr. Hall actually gave me this. Here's my little guy here. Okay, that's my strong man. So you have the information. You have been empowered. We're going to keep him handy because this is what we want to do. We want to empower people. We want to empower people to make good decisions for themselves about their children. So many of you out there right now are providers who are doing this work. And one of the things that I would like to do is thank you for the work that you're doing on behalf of the prom gambling, and their families. Is there anything else, any comments or any other questions?
Bill Lillis from the Partnership for Drug-Free New Jersey. I'm the one that wrote about the advertising. If the tobacco industry that sells a legal product to adults has been forced to adhere to restrictions over decades, the amount of advertising on TV is just incredible. And to think it's not going to, it's getting into the heads of our kids. So we in the prevention field, I think we're obligated to address this issue, to think the industry themselves are going to do be corporately responsible and keep this away from our kids is simply unrealistic. So I think an effort has to be made to restrict the advertising.
Mr. Bill, I totally agree with you. But you got to understand where we are and how new this is. Cigarettes, it took a long time. It took a long time to be where we are when it comes to cigarettes. And one of the things that we have done is we have curtailed, kids are not, going to cigarettes as much.
Alcohol too, right?
This is new. The stuff that's happening now, the way that's going on is going to take us. It's going to take us being motivated, moving forward and starting some sort of campaign, some sort of going and letting people know that, listen, we need to restrict this. Yes, it's a legal venture. And in our society, the one thing you have a right to is make as much money as you want. However, we need to be careful and we need to be aware of who we're stepping on as we're making this money.
Well, fair enough, Lou, but the tobacco industry no longer has the right to advertise on TV.
And hopefully someday we will curtail and be able to trim down sports betting. Yes, Mr. Leonard.
I was just going to say.
Paul, you're next, Mr. Paul.
I'm sorry. Let whoever had their hand up go, and I'll comment after them.
Well, thank you, Leonard. I just wanted to piggyback on what Bill was saying, because there's a ton of gambling going on with all the sports shows, whether it be on radio, whether it be on TV. Kids watch that. They're constantly talking about what player you should get for the next game for fantasy football. Like you said, this is something new that we're getting into, but the language has changed in the last 4 or 5 years. There's been more gambling talk that's become part of modern day things.
Mm-hmm.
So the attack that we're looking, I mean, we have to start, I guess, getting on all the shows, because you got a ton of them. There's not one sports show that you don't watch where at some point they make a bet. They don't mention a player whose stats are good for fantasy football or hockey or basketball. There is not one sports show.
And you know, we have all these celebrities who people
Yes.
are, you know, they're promoting this. Okay. So,
Ben Affleck, who got kicked out of
thank
the
you.
casino.
Thank you for your comment, and you're right. Thank you, Mr. Dario. Who was that? Thank you again.
I said Ben Affleck is promoting DraftKings or something, and he had been banned from casinos because of his casino gambling problem.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, see, I'm much more hyper vigilant about this whole thing, and don't think we should make the mistakes that the tobacco industry made. And I think we need to put that commercial out there that shows what, you know, somebody with a gambling problem looks like. And, you know, I think we need to also provide information that tells a little bit about what DraftKings doing and what, you know, all these online betting sites are doing, because most people think, you know, they hear bet $5 and win 250, as opposed to, hey, you know what, you're not getting that $250. And the odds that these guys are giving you and the vig that they're taking, you're never going to make any money. These, like the vaping commercials that are coming out now, you know, I just don't think we should wait.
No, we shouldn't. We need to get out there. Listen, this issue that we have with gambling and gambling problem, this is a public health issue. Okay. If we think that what went on in the past was something, the more technology that we have when it comes to the gambling, the more it's accessible to not only the youth, but just to people in general. You better believe the problem is going to increase with that increase of technology, with that accessibility. You know, one of the stats says 10 miles. One of the studies that Philly Dickinson says that if you're 10 miles within a casino, that your chance of developing a problem is 90%. What happens when the casino gets with you? You're carrying it. It's not only 10 miles away, this is within feet, you know, within arm reach from you.
Yeah.
This is what we have to address.
Show the kid in his room gambling on his phone. Show the kid in this classroom, you know, with the school provided computer, you know, gambling. These are the things that I think are really important to, you know, educate the public and you know, potential people with problems.
Yes, sir. Now listen, as much as I would love to continue this, I know we had an end time of 12. So right now I would like to take the time to thank every single one of you. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for being here. Ken, it was great seeing you here, Ken. Thank you very much. Mr. Dario, thank you for all your comments. I'm reading them here. We appreciate it. And yes, Mr. Bill, this is the public health issue is the way that we need to address this. We need to reach out to our legislature. We need to let them take this serious. Listen, I understand that the gambling industry, I mean, my God, the people they have doing this, the voices they have is incredible, and the money they have to back them up. We have us. We are their consumer. We are their target. So we have a say-so in this. Okay. So when you have all these people lobbying the legislature, you know what? Let's hit them as well from our end. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. Listen, have a great weekend. For those of you, be careful driving in the snow. It's going to get hectic out there. All right. Have a great day. Great weekend.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Great job, Luis.
Thank you. Thank you. Phil, hang on for a minute, Phil.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did he say thanks?
Thank you from New York.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Connie.
you
Thank
from
you.
Middlesex County.
Thank you, Ms. Susan.
If I can figure out what button to push, I will hang up.
Thank you.
Don't worry about
Enjoy
Mr.
your
Leonard.
presentation.
I'm pretty soon I'm going to end it for everyone.
Thank you.
Louis, great job. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Good
Thanks a lot. Thank you,
presentation.
Mr. Dario. Be safe.
As always, Louis. Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you.
A great presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Anna. I appreciate your words. Ms. Susan, take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ms. Alice. I appreciate your words, Ms. Alice.